Okay, so I'm gonna tell you a funny story. So before I came up here, I told my mom, literally like that, told my mom and Yosh, I was like, I'm not doing anything this year. I'm just gonna set up tents and eat people's food. Yeah, I guess not. Literally, like I didn't even bring a piece of paper. Like, I was serious. Yeah, the most I was like, but fortunately, the Most High saved and preserved information that I think will be very useful in going through the Sukkot. And so one of the things that has impressed upon me this year, and I don't know if anybody else feels it, because I'm a feeler. Not feelings like but like I feel. And one of the things that I feel during this season is the extreme pressing to understand what we're doing, why we're doing it, and how that impacts us both now and future when it comes to our redemption. I'm really focused in that area. And so I'm going to just kind of do a survey. There's no right or wrong answer, but I did write a question up here. And my question is, what are we doing? I left off this part here. And why are we doing it? And I just want to like popcorn. So if you have something, just kind of like spit it out. If somebody else talks at the same time, you guys do paper, rock, scissors, and then let the other person go first. So what are we doing here? Sukkot. Okay. Anybody else? Fellowshipping. Tabernacling. Worshiping. Walking out Torah. Going back to the ancient old Hebraic way of life. Honoring the Father. Serving Yahuwah. Sharing. Gathering that which is separated. Living. Anybody else? There's like an infinite number of answers. There's no wrong answer. Learning. Okay. Huh? Fussing and fighting sometimes. That could be part of it. So one of the things, yes.
I'm here to receive my seal.
Receiving his seal. So one of the things that just happened, one, there was no incorrect answer. The reason why I wanted the popcorning or people just kind of letting whatever was coming to mind come up is because we all have something different in mind sometimes on why we're in a space. And the one thing that the scripture prophesies about Torah is that Torah and the Hebrew language is supposed to make us echad. One band, one sound, right? And I didn't say army for a very good reason, because some of us have forgotten that Yah doesn't need us to fight for him. He fights for himself. The existing work that we have as far as battle is concerned, a lot of it's internal. It's not necessarily external. When the time has come, when it's time to go back in our land, we will not wield a sword. We will not drive a chariot or a tank or anything else. All of that will be handled on our behalf. So if the war is handled on our behalf, and we don't have to be, we should be fit, but we shouldn't be like, I got to get 17,000 tanks and guns. And no, horses and chariots are not our way. Our way is obedience. But when we're obedient, then the Father's going to carry out his part. So in front of you have two papers, and I don't have the other one. I don't need it, though. What I did was I took the Hebrew words, and I put them in pictograph form and then in modern script. And the reason for that is if you have a bulletin or if you have a Hebrew chart in front of you, if you don't, somebody next to you does, but I'll go over them. Each Hebrew letter has a name. It has a definition. It has a number and a meaning. Okay? Name, number, definition, meaning. Meaning, kind of the same definition. So the reason why I put this in front of you is because first I'm going to define what these words mean. And in defining what the words mean, then we're going to get a function and an understanding. And the hope is that anybody need a paper? Because there's some up here on this table right here, and there's some on that back table. Once you get the name, function, meaning, the purpose of that is for you to then put that into action. And it's very, very easy to spot a Hebrew who's not putting something in action if we all know what it means. So if I say we should be loving each other, but everybody has a different definition of love, then you'll be like, well, that was loving, because if this happened and then they did this, then that was kind of loving, right? But if we all operate on the same definition of what love is, and then you spot somebody else or somebody not operating under the definition that we all understand, then you can easily spot when there's no love there, right? Same thing with camp. So the reason why I chose the word camp is because we're all what you would call a core group. There are going to be a lot more people that come. And so the best thing to do is to set the core or to set the group at a particular vibration so that as more people add to the group, then that vibration or that goes and it spreads out like a ripple effect amongst everybody else. Does that make sense? Okay. And so I'm saying that because the words, when I give you the definitions, they're simple, but to see them and how they function in Torah is going to be cool. And we'll have that definition as we go throughout our week. What we'll be doing is going back to that base definition and doing a checklist because there's eyes on us. And I'll tell you what those are. So the first one you have up here is het noon. Het, if you have a Hebrew chart in front of you, if you have a Sefer Bible, it's on the first page. Can somebody tell me what het, what its definition is, the simple definition? Tent wall, separation, fence. So automatically, camp, you set up your tents, most of us here, so you understand functionally now, not just with a spiritual mind or an abstract mind, but you know what a tent wall is. You know why that tent wall is important, especially if you know that raccoon lives in that tree. You know why there needs to be separation, right? You know that a barrier is necessary. There is no tent without walls. It would just be this, right? Okay, tent wall, fence, separation. And then the second letter, or the letter, and we're going from right to left if you didn't know. So we're working this way and across. The second letter is a noon. Can somebody give me the definition of a noon? Seed, fish, activity, and life. Offspring, continuation, right? But life, something that needs to be protected, right? So then when you're in a tent, you go into the tent to literally protect your life. You're protecting you from what is outside of you. Okay, so that is the base definition of what we're here. We're here and we're in tents, right? That would be considered, if you will, on a very surface level, because we're not just here in tents as separates. So I have to show you what being here in tents looks like in an encampment. So on a base nature, you all came here, families, into a tent, protecting life, separated. But what happens when you put a bunch of tents up? What does that become? It becomes a community. So all of a sudden, the walls that separate you and keep your life are only separating you from the elements outside, but not from the people around you. Does that make sense? Okay, so then the next word we have het, noon. Let's go down one. Let's go het, noon, hay. Okay, so once we get into the camp and we get our tents up, then we become a community. But you cannot, and I'm going to put this on the shelf for a second, you cannot become a community still operating under the base definition of separation. I'm here in a tent preserving my life. That's base. So it has to move further. The first idea of camp that we get in scripture the functional picture was Noah. In the story of the flood, in a base sense, Noah and his family were a group. And the rest of the world was, if you will, the wilderness. And the Most High instructed him to build a structure to house the seed, right? To keep them protected from everybody else. But there was a function necessary for the people within the ark, which was they had to live together in community with some of the things that they probably would have been building and separating to protect themselves from, right? So there was function necessary. So camping or tabernacling in the midst of destruction with the purpose of Yah seeing them. Before Noah and his family got in the boat, they had already begun functioning tov, functioning in community. That's what made Yah see them. He said, and Yah saw Noah. Of all the people and all the chaos, they were doing something. Because they had houses. Everybody had houses. Right. Everybody was living in tents or however they were living, and they had separate. But there was something different about how they had gathered together that separated when Yah looked at them from when he surveyed the whole rest of the world. That makes sense? Okay. So as we're gathering here for Sukkot, now to this one down here, we are, and I want you to really internalize this because I've been trying to put this in my mind. We are placing ourselves in a place of examination. The test wasn't getting here. The test is while you're here. It felt like a test getting here. Right? But that part is the adversary trying to stop you. If you've ever been, everybody's here has been to school. You're in America. You'll go to jail if you don't. So when you go to school, you have to take a test. And you know the day you take a test, you study, and it's like, dang, I cannot get to the test. I feel like I'm prepared for the test, but then I got an accident, can't find my pencil, need a Scantron sheet. So the test seems like the process of arriving here. But the actual test is how you perform when you sit down at the real test. This is the sitting down at the test. And so one of the things we talked about, I can't remember which lesson it was, we talked about the fact that Yah gives you all the answers to the test before you take it. So I'm just going to be like your teacher who says, here is the cheat sheet. All of these questions will be on the test. Take it home, study it. So when you come to the test, you should be able to go A, C, B, D, and it's over, right? So when we're coming here, we're putting ourselves under examination. We're not just under the examination of Yah, though. We're under the examination of each other. Because when we're separated throughout the rest of the year, outside of the traveling feast, we say we live Hebrew on Instagram and on YouTube and on Facebook, and we post these scriptures and we do all this stuff. But then all of a sudden, you get in camp and people like, oh, okay. And we're like, no, my kids are great. And you're like, my kids keep Torah. Your kids like, I had a pork sandwich last night. I'm just saying, it's what happens. And so when we get together in community, right, it immediately puts us under the examination of everybody else. Now, in saying that, you're not the tester. So just put that out there. Yes, you will have eyes on you, but that's not the audience you're performing for. Right? So as you're out here, some of the things that you may be like, dang, I was doing it at home, but then I saw them do that. That makes more sense. Maybe I'll adopt that. It's different from, you need to do everything like I'm doing it because I'm right. It's two-way. The observation, people will be watching you so they can pick up on new things, and you'll be watching them, and vice versa. The whole process, though, should be a process of learning, not condemnation. Yah's the teacher. Believe me, he brought you here because he wanted to show you something. He didn't bring us here with all the answers. We got to make hamburgers tonight. I didn't think we was going to cook tonight. I'm just saying, you come here, and the solutions sometimes come in the process of the doing. Okay? So let me show you this in function and not just like, oh, that sounds so cool, and she made it all up. Het, noon, hay. So we got tent wall, fence, separation, right? Noon, seed, fish, activity, life. So separating the seed of the life. Hey. The hey is to look, lo, or behold. The idea of separating, we get out here, it immediately focuses to Yah. You can't really focus on anything else. If your focus while you're here shifts to anything that you would be worrying about at home, you're doing it wrong. It's wrong. You don't come out of your home and out of the city and out of calamity and out of chaos to bring chaos with you. That was a little chaos. No. You don't. The function of being here is that the Most High knows that every other day of your life, it's very difficult to focus on Him. You're taking lessons and you're getting lessons and tests all the time, but this is like the final exam. Did you actually learn anything that I was teaching you all year long? And it's literally all put to the test. How we treat one another, how we function under pressure. How do we act when things don't go right? Do we look around and see other people's needs? Torah becomes real. It gets lit. Living in Torah, that's it. Yeah. It becomes real. And if needs are not met in this small community, it's because somewhere along the way we're negating Torah. Right? Because it's now, the whole purpose is to take you off of self. Okay? So het noon hey, lo behold the first direction that happens here is you immediately begin to look toward Yah. How many of you guys, when you got here last night or got up early, saw the stars? How often have you looked at the stars in the past 364 days? Huh? Every Shabbat? So like once a week, but do you do it every day? Do you do it more than one time a day? Do you have time to actually sit there and be like, whoa, wait, I saw a shooting star. I'm going to wait for the next one. You know? Right? Like just those little things where the hustle and bustle and the pace and the necessity to be doing something all the time should be dwindling. Right? Until you enter into a state of rest. This is not my notes. But what happened to our ancestors in the wilderness, when they were in the wilderness, was that when the glory of Yah descended upon the camp, they did not move. It didn't matter how long it was. Why? That's all we've been waiting for, was to get into a state where the glory of Yah would want to dwell in this space. And so you are like on your P's and Q's, like, hey, you see some trash on the ground, pick it up. Hey, did you do this? Hey, make sure you, did you wash your garments? Do this. You want everything to stay in a state of shalom so that the glory of Yah doesn't leave. Right? So right now, in the space where we're in preparation, we have not reached that point. The point we want to reach while we're here, this is me being lofty, is that in this process of being here, that Yah sees fit to let His glory rest in this place. That we create and cultivate a space that He says, and this is the second part of this, we look up, and by us tabernacling, getting ready, and then waiting, He's like, okay, let me see. Oh, they're helping each other, and man, they're not being selfish, and everybody's selfless, and they're waiting for me. When you wait for the teacher, guess what the teacher will do? Show up. We have a classroom at the house, and it has a window, and sometimes I'll send the kids out, and I'll take my time. I'll go in there, brush my teeth, get dressed, and I'm just waiting to see that if I leave them long enough to themselves, will they get restless? Or will they start doing the stuff that they know they can do? Like they can pull out their books and write their letters. They can play with the connect blocks. They can go over their sight words. And so it's a beautiful scene when you walk to the door of the classroom and they don't see you. And Ari's on the ground and she's reading her book, and Jade's over there and she's putting together the match. I'm like, without me, you were preparing for me before I even got there. Because what happens? If you don't, then when I come in, it changes the whole mood. Because now it's a mood of discipline and not a mood of excitement to have my presence in the room. Okay? So while we're here, we're asking Yah to look at our gathering and see, and this is the second part, if we're ready to enter back into His land. You're coming together for a test. You ready to go back home? Yeah, we ready. Oh, I can't wait to get back home. And then you get out here and you get an opportunity to show that you're ready, right? It's like a driver's test. I'm going to take my driver's test, and I've been practicing. And then as soon as I let you in the car, you hit the garage by going in drive instead of reverse. You're not ready. Let's try again in 6 months. So we're out here, and I know the buzz is that we're entering into 2019. Everybody's like, 2019. Ask Noah what happened 40 days and 40 nights and how long he was actually on the boat. Ask the children of Israel what happened when they were supposed to go on a 2-week journey and they ended up marching 40 years in the wilderness. Just because you think you're ready for something, Yah is not going to give you an opportunity to self-destruct again. There is no more captivity. How you going to go into captivity from captivity? It's an impossibility. So then what's the next step? You're saying, I want to go back home, but if you think that the stakes are high here, the stakes are higher there. One of the things, and I'm not in eschatology and trying to figure out what's going to happen in the end times, but one of the things that confuses me is how it seems like the scripture says that we'll enter back into the land and then the people are going to go crooked again. Is that, anybody read that? Okay. And the question to us right now would be, how? But if we do a true self-examination of the current state of just us here, I'd be like, I can see it. Why? Because egos, feelings, selfishness, lack of preparation, lack of looking out for one another, jealousy, any of those things can stir up. It just takes a little pride. Not following leadership. You ain't my leader. I'm my own leader. Any of those little things are seeds that then lead to turning back into wickedness and captivity. All it takes is for one person to be like, I can do this, and this is not this, and then that little bit of bickering, and y'all's like, out. We do it all the time. Kids be like, let's play Candyland. I'm like, okay, I'm all excited. I'm like, getting the cars out, shuffle them, pick my little piece, taping it together because it's ripped in half, and sit down at the game, and 3 rounds through, Ari's crying. I'm done. I don't play. I'm an adult. I'm not going to play with kids that want to cry over Candyland. But it's just a game, right? Well, the stakes are higher when you're talking about Yah and his land, right? Okay, so we're coming under examination, and the way we act and treat one another here and the way we work together is a testament either against us or on our behalf. It's a testament against us or on our behalf, okay? In the wilderness, the children of Israel marched for 40 years. Yahuwah marched them and proved them. They could have gone in at year 1, but based upon the assessment of their actions, we knew they were not ready. So I told you, just because 2019 is coming, doesn't mean you sit on the bench like, okay, I'm getting a championship ring even though I didn't play in the game. Doesn't work like that. Now let me give you the definition. So in Genesis 26:17, we get that first one for the verbal root, understanding the base nature of what it means to pitch a tent. The base nature of pitching a tent is literally what we've done. It's to put up a structure that'll keep you safe and protect it from the elements. If you go to that verse, you can read it. Okay, so the next one, Mem Het Nun Hay, so you see the Het Nun Hay, is a place of encampment. The purpose of gathering is so that we, and in the King James terms, you beseech Yah. What I am asking Yah to do is like those, the movies where like there's people shrink and they're like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids or whatever, and the people get real small. Oh, I didn't put it on there. It's just the mem it's giving you the part of speech. So is it a Hithphel? Is it PL? Is it Palel? Yeah. Right then, it would be in front of. Like that. Mechana. Okay. And the idea that when you see the little people, what's that movie where the people were living in the trees? Yeah, so they were small, and so the humans were like way bigger than them. And when they would get ready to see him, they'd be like, and they peer in. When we think about Yah, how we should see him is so much greater than we are. with so many more important things going on, you know, oxygen being balanced and making sure the whole universe and the fabric of it stays together. And so truly our request may seem lofty, but the difference is, like me, I can be doing this and studying, but if my kid cries or if my kid needs me, everything stops and my attention immediately goes there. We are putting ourselves in a position by gathering in this place and acting out the not acting as in acting, but living out the way of Torah that Yah, with all of the infiniteness of him, goes like right there in that little space with that little bit. He doesn't care about everybody else. He only cares about the remnant, and he only sees that which is obedient. So what we're at, the term henna means to literally to incline or to decline. Not decline in a negative, but to come from a very, very high and lofty space and to come down to see what's going on. And so I know it seems like a lot of pressure. Like, is she really like seriously thinking? I do. I believe it. I believe that in no time, it don't take no time to be obedient. Obedience is immediate. When you know better, you do better, right? While we're sitting here and we're gathering and we're preparing, that is our cry. People are like, we need to cry out. No, that's not the cry. Yah doesn't hear man the way that men hear man. Yah hears man through their actions. He don't need to hear you say anything. He knows already, but he's trying to see are you just crying because of the irritation of captivity? Or are you doing because truly your heart wants to follow me? Okay? So the Genesis 32, and if somebody, I'm going to use, anyone have a King James Bible? Just a regular, is that guys? In this verse, Jacob, Genesis, Jacob sees Yah's camp. Now what's interesting is most people immediately, when especially translators, when they go into the scripture, they always see angelic beings outside of us. But more often than not in scripture, when you see the word angel translated, if it is a being that is not shown in a human form, it would be seraphim or cherubim, or seraphim, because it's plural, cherubim, because it's plural. When you see melachim, it's messengers who appear like you and me so that we can talk and relate to them. Okay? Genesis 32 says, so Jacob went on his way, and just a background, he's leaving Laban's. So I have to make sure we all know what's happening. Jacob's leaving. So Jacob went on his way, and the angels of Elohim met him. When Jacob saw them, he said, this is Yah's camp. And he called the name of the place Mahanim. Showing this for Mahanim. Showing this for two reasons. First reason is they tell you that they don't know how to say stuff in Hebrew. It's literally written, transliterated from Hebrew into English. Second reason is I'm going to prove to you that angels and messengers are the same thing, just for fun. Then Jacob sent messengers before him to Esau, his brother. The same exact word is used for both of those. The angels in verse 1 and the messengers that Jacob sent to Esau are the exact same word. So when people come out here, and I promise you, I'm just saying what I'm saying. I'm not saying it to say it in general and pass the word along. When people come out here, I don't care what color they are. I don't care what background they're from. Yah is sending them here to see the camp of Yah. Keep that in the forefrontest place in your mind. I don't care how they act. I don't care how they treat you. I don't care how they come here. you have to be able to show them that the camp of Yah is here. Remember, Jacob is called, and he's going to birth the 12 tribes. Why would he be seeing anybody but himself that is holy and special? But along the way in his development, Yah placed a camp in his midst to let him know he was on the right path or the right journey. So the rangers in this park and the people that come down here, you don't know, and I'm sure Moreh will share more, you don't know that the people that run this place prepared for this place before we got here. They know we don't eat pork, and they know people cook on that grill. They came and pressure washed it and cleaned every bit of ash off of this place before we got here. They came through, sprayed this place clean. There was not a single piece of trash on this place when we got here. They brought extra bathrooms, and they come by twice a day, except for on the Shabbat, to pick up trash. They're obeying our law because we're here. So we want the testament to be, they came by and they saw the camp of Yah. Does that make sense? Okay. The word for, and you've seen this word, and this is going to make it all make sense. So this week, if you haven't heard, the theme for this week is we're doing Ruth on the Shabbats, and we're doing Noah on in the lessons. And I told you I didn't have a lesson. Mosai gave me this lesson. He gave me the word, not all the other stuff. And in studying, this thing led right back to Noah. So when Noah was obedient to Yah, he was already seeking him. Yah didn't find a disobedient person and then say, hey, build this ark, because I can probably bet that 10 times out of 10, it would have been built wrong and everything on it would have died. So if you can't be trusted to govern yourself, why would Yah trust you to govern and to care for his creation? So while we're out here, this is everything I say to me first, and then out, and then take it as you will. You first, then everybody else. Charity, love, goodness, graciousness, kindness starts in your tent, and then it goes out. Because the people in your tent testify against you. So if you say one thing over here, and then what is happening in your tent is something else, then it's a lie. Just flat out. It's not like, it's what it is. And so what Noah had done did not just stop at Noah. It was his whole family. Because if anybody at any time had done something wrong, then they would have been destroyed just like everybody else. They understood the importance of them being obedient, that being the salvation of everybody else as well. So out here, we're all one. Once it moves from tent to tent, then it's community. What one person does is a reflection on everybody. If you're not sure how to do something, seek somebody that you think knows better in a situation than you do and take it to them. Because if we act in our own power, then we can destruct something that could be very beautiful in the process. Okay. This word hin, you've probably not seen it in the term of camp, but you've seen it in the word grace. And it says, and Noah found grace. It was Noah's family's obedience and being able to work together toward the expected end of salvation for their family and all the other created things that Yah told him to place on the ark that caused Yah to, anybody remember what happened when he was on the boat? It almost looked like Yah forgot, and the verse says, and Yah remembered Noah. The word remember there is zakar, and it doesn't mean, let me write it here for you. It's Zion, Kaf, Resh. It doesn't mean like he put him on the boat and was like, oh shoot, Noah's out there just tossing at sea, right? The idea of zakar, because it's connected to the word hin, two separate words, but they function parallel. When you are encamped and when you're tabernacling and when you're working together toward Yah's goal like his family was, the idea of remember means, and then he acted on their behalf. So what we're asking Yah to do by being obedient is to incline his ear, look down at this little speck of dust at Eastman Lake, and we want him to act on our behalf. we've heard it said that one monkey doesn't stop a show, right? I'm going to say that that's true in this case. Yah's going to watch, and he's going to see, and he's going to be looking for obedience. Don't allow the opportunity to be under his microscope to be a testament against you. Because some people went into the land, some people didn't. We keep thinking, and I was in this thought, that everybody has to get it right for us to go back. Nope. Yah has in his mind, he already knows the number that's going. I'm just waiting for them. So don't get out here and allow a 2/3 or a 1/3 or a 1/8 to distract you and cause you to do a Noah and hit the rock and miss your opportunity. So even if, I'm missing a Noah, a Moshe, thank you, and hit the rock in disobedience to Yah. So even in the process, as we're here, and things don't go as you think they should go, because this is me talking to myself now, because this is my thing. Like my mom said, I like everything and everybody to be so happy. And it's often at the expense of me having a great attitude, right? So even with that, don't allow your service to cause you to grumble or mumble. I've worked very briefly in stints in customer service. I'm sure there are people who have much more experience, but one of the things that my husband once told me, and my uncle also told my aunt this, so it's probably something that all of us are currently working on. I know I am. We tend to be nicer to people we don't know than to people we are around all the time. Familiarity has a tendency to breed contempt. And it's something in this process that we need to be careful of. So I'm asking that we keep our customer service selves on, not in a fake sense. Because I feel like when we're being nice to people when we're at work, we're trying to be our best self. You're not trying to be your worst self. You're trying to, no matter what, no matter how bad my feet hurt, I'm going to put my best self forward because this person doesn't really deserve all the baggage that comes with experiencing me. But then we feel like the people that are around us all the time deserve the baggage that comes with experiencing me. And what normally happens is, and myself included, the more comfortable you get with people, the more you laden them down with the less favorable parts of you. So I ask that we all put our best foot forward. Pleases and thank yous and good mornings and how may I help you and is there anything I can get for you and did you have a good night rest and would you like an extra pillow because I got more than one and did your tent deflate because I got a blow up bag and all those things because nice is infectious and it makes you feel good. A lot of us go to work every day and we're around people we don't really like, and they're really annoying. And then what happens is, because of energies, is that whatever we don't like, we seem to attract. So the same things that you may be trying to get away from, you might find here. So I'm just hoping that you don't find those things or those people here. And so that extends out. I promise you, if we as the people, it's only maybe under 100 of us here, if we set that tone, then as everybody else comes in, everyone will have a good report. Everyone will. There will be times where we will vent. There will be times when we will hike. I brought journals so we can talk. I'm not saying we're not going to have the moments when we cry and when we express our frustrations, but the goal is to leave here whole, not broken. Last thing. So, I want to put this out there because mine started off, I'll just tell you the truth. It started off as me trying to mantra myself because I think oftentimes we get weary and well-doing and we need to hear it from somebody else. And sometimes my somebody else is probably my husband or my mom or the kids. You're always doing that. And I'm like, always? So, and one of the things about service, and it's truly something that I learned from my mom. My mom, and I'm not tooting her horn, and it's not because she's here. I wouldn't care if she was here or not. And I wouldn't lie, because she wouldn't let me. My mom, I've watched her serve good people, good men, bad men. I've watched her serve people where I'd be like, I don't like her, she da-da-da-da. And she'd do it anyways. I've watched her have $1 and give the person the $1, not 50 cents. I've watched it all. And so service is mandatory where I come from. So sometimes I find myself doing it in autopilot and not with the heart sometimes. And I know a lot of us, because we grew up serving, that sometimes you can lose the heart of service. Well, I'm asking for the restoration of the heart of service, so that when you do it unto Yah. And I'm serious, because I swear he sees it that way. I'm doing it through me, through you, to him. Because the servant is the greatest in the kingdom. If you're great now, you will serve in the kingdom. Everybody's always like, no, and I'm saying this like this on purpose. White people are going to serve black people in the kingdom. Some of y'all black people are going to be serving white people in the kingdom if you don't get it together. You think you went from one spectrum where you see only the color in service, and you will not only be serving, but you'll be serving everyone, because God doesn't care about what color a person is. If they're obedient, the rule applies to everyone. So, as we serve one another, get your service on so that your position comes through your service. One of the things that Moreh and I, right before Atonement, we went over, Yeshua came, and I'm giving away some stuff out of the book, but he came, and people don't understand why the master washed the disciples' feet. And it's twofold. One, because the laver that was built in the temple, it's called him in Hebrew. It's literally given a personality. And it says it will be made out of burnt bronze, and it will be used to wash the priests and those people. Anyways, let me not get into that. But the picture was, I am the cleansing agent. But the only Messiah that people will see from this point forward is you. So you are the washer. You are at the feet, because the greatest one did it first. So if you think service is low, then you think low of the Messiah. So every time you think about, I'm too tired, and my feet hurt because I walked all day. He walked, he healed, he made sure people had food, he slept outside on rocks, gave up everything so everybody else could have. So at any time you feel like the position of servitude is low, check your pride. Because you immediately put yourself over the Messiah at that moment. The servant. I'll give you the verses. Luke 22 and 26. And I'll read these and I'll get out of your way. He said, but so among you, on the contrary, he who is greatest among you, let him be as the younger, and he who governs as he who serves. Okay? For who is greater, he who sits at the table or he who serves? It is not he who sits at the table. Is it not he who sits at the table? Yet I am among you as one who serves. He deserves the head seat at the table, and we should all be serving him. Why? So when you see those verses where it says, and when did we see you were in need? And when did we serve you? And when did we give you water? And when did we should be jumping at the opportunity to serve one another. Literally. I'm serious, because the way we treat one another is that moment of, remember when you saw me? We're always looking out to somebody homeless and somebody who looks like they need service. But internally, we're struggling as a people. And we need to be loved properly. And sometimes it's only when people who understand what that means gather that that's even an opportunity for that to happen. Nobody will sit here and admit it, but I'm going to tell you all, we're all broken. Some of us are doing a better job of picking up the pieces. And so for those of us that have found a way to manage to put the pieces in those little Ziploc baggies, hand somebody else a Ziploc baggie for their broken pieces. Right? Give a hug, a high five, a joke. Like, I'm serious, because if I can, for some people, I know for me, it's the opportunity to be here and see you guys that makes a lot of things a lot of things worth it when negative things happen. Because sometimes the anxiety of dealing with different personalities and different people and different things, most people don't know this, I am highly sensitive. That's why I might come off a little bit like, it's awkward. That's what that's called. I'm just letting you know. It is. It's not like, oh, she's mean or she's unapproachable. No, I'm awkward. And I don't like rejection. So if I come and I'm being nice to you and you're mean to me, I'm going to take that as like, I'm never going to be nice to you again. And I don't want to put myself in a position to be rejected and then I'm never nice again, because then I'm going to be at the issue. I'm just putting it out there. Somebody else may feel like that. So I'm letting you know. So if I say good morning, I'm really, really like, I've already calculated that maybe they don't hear me, so I'm going to have to say it twice. And then if they don't hear me, they don't say good morning, I'll be waiting all day like, did they hear me when I said good morning? I'm just trying to be nice. I'm being serious. So part of that is being mindful of one another too. Like, while we're here, let's get out of ourselves. I have stuff I want to do. I had in my mind, I'm going to write for 45 minutes every day in my tent. But my first goal, and I'm putting on me first, is to serve. And in any capacity necessary, if you need something, ask me. I'm going to do my best to do it or find somebody that can. And we're going to work together. Like the whole time. I think this year I plan on us all crying when it's time to leave, because going back to anything less than this should hurt very bad. Okay? That's the goal. Can we all agree on that goal? Is that something that's a goal I have by myself? Okay. So as we're working, just remember, we want him to see. So anytime, like Malka, she was like, you get that moment, it's like yourself falls in on yourself, the world does. We just practice just like, okay, I'm gonna take this off, sit this here, leave it here, and move on, whatever it is. Don't let anything linger. We don't have to have a bunch of counseling sessions. And, did I offend this person? None of that. You didn't, because nobody here is in a position to be offended. Offense comes from pride. Feeling like you offended somebody comes from pride, because you feel like you're important enough to disrupt somebody else's day or their time. You're not. There's way too many things going on in a person's world for them to stop and think about somebody that they may not even really know.
Hallelujah.
I'm serious. All of that is putting yourself, or you're putting a person in a position. Like Malka she says, cast down the idols. Whatever it is, whoever a person is. It does not mean disrespect the person. It does not become overly familiar so that you don't care about who they are, that they're not a human anymore. It means be one. Be on the same level so that you feel comfortable with that person. Last thing, this is a personal thing. I've been saying this. Jazz has that animals are a people, so I stole this kind of from her book title. Children are a people too.
Yes, they are.
I am the Lorax, and I speak for the children.
Okay.
We are going to set rules, and sometime we'll get together and come together as a group. And after those rules are set, we're going to let them live their best life. This is about them and even about us. We want them to see us so happy. My mom, if I was a kid, I want my mom to be the happiest when she sets the coat. So that it's like, and I'm going to use this, it's like Christmas. A lot of people have an attachment to Christmas because it was the only time when their family was functional. Kinda. Right? It's the only time they got a gift. It's the only time somebody served them. It was the only time somebody was nice to them. It was the only time somebody sat down and said, I'm not taking a work phone call. I'm not going out. I'm not going to my girlfriend's house. Today, I'm going to be home with my family. Sukkot should be BTC. Better than Christmas. It should be, every time we get together, it should be. Shabbat should be the same way. But it should be a time where when these children hear that Sukkot is coming, it should be like they want to count down and they want to mark their calendars because they know that during that time, all of the attention is on making this the happiest place on earth. Because we want them to continue doing this. If all they say is, oh, all they do is get out there and they just want to argue and they and then I hear my mom in here and she talking about this person over here and this going on. I don't want to come back and do that. I can do the same thing in the world. We want them to be looking forward to buying their first tent for themselves. So treat them like a people. If it's possible, because we should be super nice to each other, be nicer to them than anybody else out here. Serve them. They are the least, right? They are his. Suffer not the little children. Our attitudes will suffer them to come to Yah. They are gathering and creating their religion and their doctrine and their belief systems based upon how we act. They're too young to truly understand biblical theory and Hebrew and connecting words. They're learning what a Hebrew is by watching how we treat one another. So while they're out here, play with them. Let's do stuff with them. Let's go off. Everything don't have to be a lesson. I hated that. My grandma was like, here's your memory verse. You memorize, you get $5. I memorized that whole box. And like, that's not it. It's about relationships. It's about getting new aunties and uncles and people where if they have negative relationships with people, the camp should be fixing those things. So when Yah looks down, he's like, dang, they didn't know that little girl had XYZ, and then this person embraced her and took her in, or this person told her she was beautiful, and now it's going to change the course of her whole life in just one space and time being in the camp of Yah. All right, I'm done. Oh, I have to answer questions. Questions? Anybody? Questions? This will just be a first. I'm just gonna gluten this for a second. No, I'm just no, anything. Questions, comments, questions about anything, like what something looks like, what something should look like, how to resolve something. We want to get the question answered so that we all have the right idea of how to go about living this out. Nobody? If you have a question you don't want to answer right now, come to me. If something happens and you feel like you're going to tell 17 people, come to me. Let me tell you 2 reasons why. 1, I don't gossip because I don't care enough. Not about the people, but it's mental space. I don't have enough of it. I was going to make a joke, but never mind. 2, I'm only going to give you biblical advice. And it will not go past me. That's just what it is. So while you may make friends, some friends may be recovering gossipers or recovering talker too muchers or whatever the case may be. So if you want a safe space, if you say, hey, I felt like this and I'm going to tell you the truth. Actually, it was probably you. And maybe this is how you should do this differently, but it'll resolve it. So if there is a time, don't come to me with everything. If somebody step on your shoe, dust it off. I'm telling you, first, shake it off. If you can't shake it, find me. And then we will shake it together, and it will be shaken. And once it's shaken, if it comes up again, we're not gonna be friends no more. Now we gonna have beef. So, but I'm just saying that because I know sometimes we let stuff fester because we try to be fake. I'm not asking people to be fake. I'm asking for us to be here and gather tools for how to live in community. And sometimes because we were not raised like that, or we're not around women, we don't trust women, we have not been put in a position or had the opportunity to really grow and work together. Same thing for Moreh. You can go to him, Yoshiyahu, anybody else want to volunteer themselves. We are going to vet you if you volunteer yourself. I'm going to tell you a secret. I'm going to see how long you hold it. But those 2, if you want to, if you have something, or if it's something, keep it in a safe space. I'm talking from a place of experience, not because I know it all, because I'm like this big and probably this young compared to most of you. But it's because I've been in the position and been on the other side where I've shared and it went overshared and it hurts and it really destroys community. So we want to make sure that we keep everything together and one, because the end of everything is reconciliation and Yah dwelling amongst us. Okay?